Hello and welcome everyone to the live commodity market analysis with the Gold and Silver Club for the 10th of the 11th, 2016, presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So during today's session, guys, we will be covering live market analysis, how we expect the markets to move, a watch list of trading opportunities, an overview of the commodity markets, and covering our top trades of the week. We have a lot to cover with you during today's session. So before we get started, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is the #1 commodities trading and investment coaching company. We're regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading as internationally respected experts. Our analysis and our opinions on the metals, the energies, and the agricultural markets, they are routinely sought after by major financial television channels and publications, which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. Of course, it's a pleasure to be here on FX Street as well. Our team of experts has trained and mentored over 125,000 private traders from all over the world to increase their wealth and generate substantial income through commodities using our exclusive research-driven strategies. So for more information on the Gold and Silver Club and our expertise, please feel free to visit our website, which is www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. Okay, fantastic. So with that, it has been the US election. We have the results in now. Of course, Donald Trump has won, and we've seen some significant moves to the financial markets over the last 24 hours. So I thought we could just go bigger picture here and have a look at how the markets have performed over the course of this year, just to give you an idea of where we're sat in context to year-to-date performance on these markets. So far, top performing markets of 2016 have included #1 is orange juice, which is up over 44%. #2 is sugar, which is up 38%. Silver, which still remains very strong here, up over 33%. Ethanol up 29%. Coffee up 25%. A lot of that move came over the last few weeks. Palladium has had a big move over the last week, up over 21%. Gold still just under 20% for the year, so still remains significantly up so far in 2016. Copper has had a significant move over the last week. We're now up over 19% this year, followed by soybeans, heating oil, and platinum as well. So that just gives you an idea of some of the moves that we've seen now over 2016, where we are sat in context to that have occurred this year. Okay, and that's worth being aware of, because you want to make sure that you are positioning yourself on the right side of these moves as well. Now, in terms of the actual weekly performance, now the top movers have been copper and palladium. We've seen some big breakouts. Copper over 13% move this week, palladium up over 9%. One of the biggest moves to the downside has been the volatility index, which last week it gained 16%. This week it's down over 20%. We've seen some major moves on volatility over the course of this week, which we'll have a look at on the charts for you as well. So we'll break it down. We'll have a look at the technicals. We'll look at opportunities that we see coming into the US session today as we head into next week as well, and really how we traded also the US election as well. So I'll tell you what we'll start off with. I will break it down for you, and I think what we can start off with first, I think gold is well worth starting off with at the moment. And you can see here what was really interesting, and we've discussed this previously on these sessions, was the fact that gold had a very similar move actually prior to the US elections that we saw on Brexit. So essentially we had this inverse V-shaped reversal pattern, very similar move. We covered this in detail with all of our private members at the Gold and Silver Club prior to the US election, where we primed for this trading opportunity. We had a breakdown before the results came in. We have a breakdown of the previous day's low. So we essentially had a dip down in price, which then reversed, and we took advantage of this. We were up during the whole of the US election to trade the breakout, which resulted, and we got exactly the same move here. A lot of parallels between the US election and Brexit. It was a shock result. Okay, so again, we've discussed this previously, where we were expecting and preparing for a potential Trump win at the Gold and Silver Club. It was, to a certain degree, we were seeing very similar price action that we saw prior to Brexit, where there was an expectation that we would remain, and then of course the UK came out of the European Union. So we're very aware of how that trade opportunity breaks down and how it develops and what it looks like. So we essentially started to get into this trade on a break above Monday's high here, particularly once we broke above 1290. This was our signal to get into the trade that we traded. All of our members at the Gold and Silver Club also executing positions here where we telegraphed exactly what we were doing. So we broke out of this at 1290. This ended up being the biggest, actually the second biggest one-day move on gold since 2008. Gold broke out significantly here. We came all the way up to just shy of 1,340 US dollars, a 5% move on gold. Now, what we saw was the very common theme within trading, which was buy the rumor, sell the news. So obviously over the course of the night, as the numbers started to come in, particularly in the UK time from about 2 o'clock onwards, we started to see gold surge, especially once the Florida results were coming through that Trump was ahead. We started to see a number of other polls coming out which were supportive, and this was starting to really lean in the direction of Donald Trump. It started to become quite clear that he might have a real chance of winning. With that, we started to see gold surge. We had an opportunity to get in on this breakout above 1292, saw a significant surge, and then it actually wasn't really until the morning and after Donald Trump delivered his speech, which in fact had a very calming impact on the markets, that we saw a case of selling the news, buying the rumor, selling the news, profit taking after that. And gold had pulled back, considerably into the close yesterday, more or less closing where it started the session, just a little bit in profit. And at the moment is continuing to just consolidate above. We're still above the previous day's low and high here, moving around 1282. Gold for the short term is in an interesting zone here, which I'll break down. I'll come back to you on gold, but I think it's important to understand what the other markets are doing right now too. Now, most notably at the moment is the US dollar index, which had a very significant move over the course of the US election. So we broke down, the US dollar index actually broke down to the lowest levels going back to August, and then had a complete turnaround in price. It completely capitulated and rallied all the way back up to actually just touch above the 8-month highs here. And you can see here where the US dollar is just sat around that resistance, huge capitulation rejection candle that's formed, but it's now short-term overbought. The question being, is it going to run out of buyers here? What a move for the US dollar. Incredible to see this sort of turnaround, back at resistance here, overbought condition actually on the US dollar. If this has a failed move now, if it just is going to breach up to this level and start to roll over, that will benefit the metals here. So we want to keep an eye on that too. And I'm sure a lot of you who trade stocks will be very aware of the 7% move that we got lower for the S&P 500, the 7% move that we got back up again. Same with the Dow Jones. Very choppy price action here. Obviously, this rolled over perfectly for a breakdown in price prior to the actual election. We saw an opportunity here where we were breaking down here significantly, and then we had a reversal, and that then broke down again. Really choppy here. We stayed out of this price action with the stock market, trade the majority of this just via the precious metals, but I can see the inverse correlations here. Very choppy price action. The speculation now is whether the stock markets are going to just find resistance back towards the 2016 highs, not the all-time highs, and roll over again and start to break down, or whether they can follow through. Certainly off the back of Donald Trump's acceptance speech yesterday, the markets took that very favorably. We saw a rally in equities, we saw a rally in the US dollar, and we saw a pullback on the metals. Now we need to see how the markets are going to digest this over the course of the US session as we go into next week as well. We're very interested to see what the follow-on move here is going to be. The last 36 hours have been incredible in terms of price action here, but I would say the safer trades here, the much more predictable moves, have yet again occurred here on the commodity markets. So gold at the moment, in fact, I'll break it down for you. We've also had a good trading opportunity here on palladium over the last week. We took this breakout trade after it had consolidated significantly over the last week, revisited just shy of the 200 MA, had a good pop over this week. It's been quite significant, this breakout trade. Earlier on in the week on Monday, we saw over a 5% move on palladium, which has continued to follow through, where it's now up 9% for this week. So well done if you caught that. Now, gold at the moment, the big question is, what is gold going to do next? Well, certainly on weekly timeframes, we're back in this consolidation zone. We're back in this pennant formation. Certainly for gold here, you've got an overhead level of resistance. Gold couldn't penetrate above that. Gold really needs to get a move on and actually get a break and a close back into this previous consolidation between 1300 up to 1350 zone in order to be convincing at this zone that it is going to be able to continue to follow through. Now, silver has actually done much better than gold over the course of the US election here. We have seen silver, although it hasn't capitulated as much, it's held on to a lot of its gains here. You can see where it's had a breakout back towards the upper end of this trend channel. It's been consolidating near the highs here where it could break out from this much larger bear flag formation in development. I'm looking for a potential breakout here on silver, but it does need to do some work. It needs to break above 19 US dollars per ounce here in order to really follow through. Gold here, you will note it is just moving from the lower end of this trend channel. It's still vulnerable, I would say, given the fact that we've got such a large rejection candle. If that gets breached to the downside, that's a bear flag formation. We would expect a further corrective move lower. Whilst it stays within this zone between 1265 up to 1300s, it's still a bit neutral here. It needs to really work its way out of this. If we go over to the weekly chart again, you've got quite a large rejection candle forming, so it really needs to rally between now and the end of the week in order for it to go higher at this point. Otherwise, it is vulnerable to corrective move lower. It really depends on the uncertainty which develops over the course of today and as we go into Friday as well in the markets. Certainly the volatility index has reduced significantly. It's come all the way back to underlying support, but it's back at a major underlying level where we could start to see volatility increase again, more uncertainty. So in the short term, the markets have taken it as a positive. The overall Trump win at the moment, the way they've been reacting to that, there was a knee-jerk reaction initially, but certainly after Donald Trump gave his speech yesterday, that was very well received, and now we're monitoring really to see what the follow-through trade will be here. Now, another trade which I'm monitoring right now, and we quite like the look of at the moment, is crude oil. Certainly light sweet crude oil had a nice bounce off the 200-day moving average, found underlying support around 44 US dollars, had a big capitulation yesterday, formed a rejection candle, pulled back this morning, which is not too much of a surprise here. Very common to see a pullback after you get a big strong rejection candle like that. I'm watching to see whether the monthly pivot will provide underlying support and whether we will continue to see oil here break higher, especially if it can break above the highs here from yesterday. I would expect follow through. So a break above 46.50 would lead to a follow through trade here and more momentum to the upside. Again, if we just break it down for you and we have a look at that based on a few additional indicators here, for me, US oil right now is at a major underlying area of support going all the way back to the beginning of 2016. Found support the 200-day moving average. We're in the buy zone of a lot of indicators. I would expect follow through. It's not quite there yet where it's convincing enough that I'm fully getting behind this with all our sort of ammunition for trading here. It needs to break above the weekly highs here in order to really get some follow through. Break above yesterday's high, get above this rejection candle, then it's going to be more convincing that we formed a short-term low here for oil and we can rally higher. So I'll be looking out for that trading opportunity. Do note that oil over the course of most of this week has picked up towards the latter part of the US session. It's typically been pulling back over the UK in the earlier part of the US session, then following through later on in the evening and rallying. That's what we've had most of this week. So even though we're pulling back at the moment, I'll be looking out for a potential trade opportunity towards the later part of the US session today to see if we follow through, particularly if we break above the high here. Oil's a big mover. It's one of those markets where it's worth just having some alerts set to alert you when that happens. Otherwise, you could be stuck watching oil all day unless you have those alerts set that you know at the point at which it's breaking out, or you get pending orders set so you get triggered into a trade automatically. Otherwise, it can be a bit slow here, just waiting for the price structure to develop. Certainly, I would watch oil, though, at the moment. Gold right now, I want to see whether it can hold underlying support. It retraced up to 1292 this morning, and it's just really moving sideways right now. Not too much going on. I suspect a lot of this will be down to how the US dollar reacts over the course of today. I believe we've got the US jobless claims coming up in about 15 minutes, so I will be watching out for the US dollar here. It is sitting right near those 8-month highs on a weekly time frame basis. You can see it has actually had a rotation. Exactly, for those of you who might have been on last week's session, we were looking for a rotation back towards the lower end of this trend channel. It's actually done exactly that. It's rotated all the way back down to lower end of the trend channel. Obviously, that level has been supported, and on a weekly basis, we're back at resistance again very quickly. Incredible price action here on the US dollar and also stocks. So with that, really you want to just continue to monitor how this is going to develop over the course of today. I would say trading opportunities for those looking for opportunities at the moment would be on oil. I would keep an eye on gold. Silver is stronger than gold right now. I would also just bear in mind where we're sat in context to the year so far. Obviously, we're coming towards the end of the year, 10th of November now. It is worth being aware that silver is still up over 33% this year. If you are going to short the metals, rather gold than silver right now. Gold is weaker than silver, is a bit vulnerable to corrective move lower. I would suggest there's a lot of underlying support still for gold, though, around the 1250 zone. So maybe short-term opportunities to sell short if it breaks below 1265. Beyond that, be careful. You will go into a major buy zone where traders are picking up positions here, so I would be careful. Would I go long gold at the moment? Yeah, perhaps on a bit more confirmation. Fortune favored the brave really over the US election. We stayed up for it. The trading opportunity which developed off the back of that, it's a bit of a rare trading opportunity where you see these quick moves where gold had its second biggest one-day move since 2008. It was very fast profits for us at the gold and silver club to get in and out those positions. So we've made already a large chunk of our profits on the move already. Now just sitting on the sidelines waiting for the next opportunity here. We're back at a major underlying support zone. Probably will be volatile for the rest of the week here until we can really develop some price structure. We might just find that gold remains range bound now with this underlying level of support where it retraces back to 1300. At that point, a retrace up to 1300. If we do develop, what I'm looking out for, and bearing in mind, if we move back up to an overbought condition, start forming rejection candles about 50% of this retracement around 1300, that will be a sign to me that gold's not going to follow through. But I would suspect in the short term, we might be able to come back up to 1300s, have an opportunity to bank some profits for those of you who might have gone long at the lower end of this trend channel at the moment. Of course, downside risk is if you break through this support, you could probably look at a short-term sell opportunity. Just be wary, it's probably going to be quite short-term. Take it down to around 1260 to the 1250 zone at the moment on gold. Silver, I wouldn't short silver at the moment. We continue to hold actually longer-term positions on this market. It is also developing rejection candles at the upper end of this trend channel, also vulnerable to corrective move lower as well. But again, it's dependent on intercorrelated markets right now as to whether they will continue to follow through, such as the US dollar, stock markets. Will they keep rallying, or will traders now take the opportunity to sell short into higher prices at the moment? So I'm just aware of what some other traders are doing at this point in time, which is that they are looking for shorting opportunities at the moment, which I think can be a little bit dangerous at this point until you get more confirmation. But there are certainly traders out there who are looking to take this rally to the upside as an opportunity to short the stock markets, given the historical data on how the stock markets typically behave after a US election, which typically tends to be more bearish afterwards. So it's just something to bear in mind. Perhaps if we do start to get confirmation that this is just a knee-jerk reaction to the upside, if you start to see the stock market roll over, possibly there'll be some good opportunities there as well. It's all about what the markets do next year, whether they follow through or whether we just start to see fear, uncertainty creep back into the markets. We'll have to see how this develops. But certainly there have been some good trading opportunities right off the back of the election. There's been some good opportunities I see developing in oil at the moment, potentially gold if we can find some good underlying support around the 1270 zone, maybe a short-term sell opportunity, but I would keep a very close eye on that at the moment. Also with the base metals, again, just going back to palladium here. Palladium's had quite a significant move over the course of this week. Platinum keeping an eye on as well. I am looking at pullbacks to be treated as buying opportunities just in a raw chart here, but essentially platinum's pulling back towards the 970 zone. I'm looking to see if we can pick up a trade off this level. If we get a retracement back to that zone which gets supported, previous resistance turn support, that would look pretty good for a new opportunity to go long. Palladium, it's overbought at the moment. We picked up a nice trade on this. It is short-term overbought. Would continue to watch that price structure. Note where gold in euros is based at the moment. Gold in euros has actually broken out above this trend channel, which gold in US dollars is struggling with. So gold in euros has been leading a lot of this move that we've seen over the gold in US dollars over the last few weeks here, where within about a week's difference, you've seen gold and US dollars catch up to what gold against euros is doing. So if gold against the euro does continue to follow through, does continue to break out, that could give you a sign of what's to come for gold in US dollar. Of course, the US dollar has had a huge move. It's managed to rally back up towards 8-month highs. So with that, gold priced in US dollars is going to struggle with the US dollar that high. But as soon as we start to see the US dollar correct from its overbought condition, watch out for gold. Could be a good opportunity to go long, get a position at this point in time. It has corrected a fair amount, but just be aware it could correct a little bit further at the moment as well. So we continue to monitor this price structure. Well done to those of you who did catch some profits. Perhaps you stayed up over the US election, or you're in the Asia Pacific time zones where that was at a reasonable time of day for you to take some of the trade opportunities. Be careful out there at the moment. Just await for confirmation on your trades. Perhaps let some of these markets settle at the moment. It's incredible price action that we've seen over the course of this week, which will no doubt, once we start to pick a direction, once the markets start to develop an overall sentiment and that gets confirmed, there's going to be some additional good opportunities that you can get off the back of here as well. Now, just to break it down for you at the Gold and Silver Club, the top trades that we have had over the course of this week have included palladium, copper, and coffee as well. So first of all, palladium, we caught the breakout trade for 510 points, just coming out of that at our profit target yesterday for 510 points. Copper as well has had a significant move. We caught the 170-point breakout from the lower end of this support zone. And coffee as well had a runaway move, breaking out to 21-month highs, where we've now banked over 260 points profit on this position. Now coffee, I expect it to actually retrace and pull back, but that's been a really nice trade as well. Now, if you would like access to our live trade ideas shared with you, ready to implement for instant results, you can get access to that. All you need to do to become a private member of the Gold and Silver Club is go over to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, complete the application form, and we will get in touch with you ASAP. Who's it for? What does it include? Well, whether you're a new trader, you just want to develop a solid understanding of the markets, fast track your results, or even if you are an experienced trader, but you just want to really take your trading to another level, then the private members live trading room is definitely something for you to consider. As a member, you get access to our exclusive live trading room webinars. You can watch us analyze the markets real time in front of you, pick out profitable trade setup, sharing our entry, exit points, profit, stop loss targets, walk you through live trade ideas. You also get email and SMS notifications which alert you when to enter a trade. Those include details where to enter, exit, place a stop loss, and all of those are sent out in advance notice. You get our week ahead plan and also commodity research and market insights to give you access to our proprietary trading research, which will help you really boost your win rate, ensure you're on the right side of trades. That research is there to give you the ultimate edge in the commodity markets. So again, as a member of the Gold and Silver Club, you get access to exclusive weekly live trading room webinars, live trade setups there to implement, real-time trade notifications via email, SMS, exact details of where we are entering, exiting, placing our stop loss, a weekly trading plan with a watch list of trade ideas for the week ahead, live trade support to help you through each trade, and institutional level trading research and commodity insights to give you the ultimate edge. So again, if you would like access, if you'd like to become a private member of the Gold and Silver Club, all you need to do is go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, complete that application form, and we will get in touch with you ASAP as well. Also, if you can mention where you've come from as well, that would be fantastic. So if you mention that you've been on today's session on FX Street, that would be ideal, guys, because we've been inundated at the Gold and Silver Club. And if you can let us know that you've come off this webinar, we will go through a very special offer for you off the back of today's or this week's US election. Okay, so just mention that when you apply, if you do apply, that you've been on today's session via FX Street on that application. That would be perfect. Okay, fantastic. So with that, guys, I wish you good trading, good luck out there, all the best. We'll speak to you really soon. Very much look forward to working with those of you who make an application and join us at the Gold and Silver Club. Okay, guys, have a fantastic one. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks to everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.